Hey guys, thank you for joining us for another weekly grind. I'm one of your hosts, Nick. Here with me today, as always, is...
Oh guys, hey, what's up? My name's Nate, and I suck ass, so yes I do.
Nate, you don't have to say that. You're super awesome, okay? So, what are we going to be talking about today, Nate?
Well, today we're gonna talk a little bit of Valorant, and then some other stuff like PlayStation 5. Yeah!
Oh, I'm so glad you're excited, Nate. Should that bit be over? No, that bit's going the whole time. Alright, so today we're going to talk about a little bit of Valorant. I thought it was interesting, something very interesting. If we look at the critics versus user reviews, it's a stark comparison, to say the least. So... Number one, we go up to the top here. We got 81 Metacritic score out of 24 critics. Then the user score is 5.6 out of 2132. Now, obviously, that's not a one-to-one comparison. It's not to say, whether or not it's going to be a good game or bad game, because obviously, there's lots of taste. There's 2132 versus 24. But still, it's interesting to see the difference between what the critics think and what users think. And obviously the critics are looking at it and it's like, is this a good game? Is it well put together? Whereas like a gamer can play it for like 2 seconds and be like, this game's stupid. And so yeah, if we go down here, let's see if I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So if we go down here, you can kind of see that, you can kind of see the discrepancy. We got critics reviews, positive 20 and mixed 24. So there's not a single negative review on the critic side. Obviously, if you just shift your eyes over here, positive 424, mixed 94, and then negative 525. And I'm like, dang, man. So I mean, let's look at a couple of the good reviews on the user side. This review contains spoil. How? I have played many FPS genre games, but it is the most interesting. Really good. Wow, he just spoiled the entire game for me. I mean, there's no mystery anymore. I don't even play Valorant. Okay. Let's see what he has to say. I don't even play Valorant, but I hate review bombings, so I'm giving a 10 because in reality, for what I saw and what my friends tell me, it's a really nice game, not a ripoff of CS:GO. It's a new fun mechanics and blah, 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 blah. So you haven't even played it. You just trying to get onto your soapbox and be like, guys, stop being mean. That one's in Russian. I said that really weird. And then we start getting to the really bad reviews. If we look at this, I'm going to go back down. If we look at this, obviously, we could just go, like, it's just Red Riding Hood. And obviously we can see it'll go yellow for 5 and 6. So that's the mixed, So let's read a couple of the bad ones. Okay, so we got this guy, Toaster Dude, gave it a 4. This game is pretty good, but every time I play this game, it feels like I'm missing something big. It feels empty. If I didn't play the game, I would just said that this is just a CS:GO clone, but this game is definitely more. Just not enough. They could have done more, or they could have done so much more. It's very early from release, so it's understandable. If you're expecting something different, I would recommend playing this game, or if you just want to play VPV, try it, I mean, the thing is that it's free. So there's a very low barrier of entry. And the main complaints that I seem to see is complaints like these, where it's like slow, boring, smooth, yet somehow chunky. The guns feel janky. Honestly, could have been made better in Carrie's mod. Okay, maybe that's not the... But the slow and boring is what I'm hearing a lot. The graphics is another good one. Like right here you can see half Counter-Strike, back to 2008. So yeah, he's definitely referencing the graphics. Paladins and Counter-Strike. This game feels sluggish and clunky. So yeah, a lot of them are thinking that it feels slow. It feels like, you know, maybe their PC is running at like half speed or something. And so I think the thing is that this game is supposed to be, it's supposed to feel slow. You know, it's supposed to be a lot more tactical, you know, and so people are playing it and they're like, wait a second, this game is too slow. I don't like it. And so then they start complaining on the line. And I think that this is probably what we're seeing here is a lot of reviews of people playing it. I can't find it, but there was one review that said that he played 2 rounds of it and then decided to review it and give it a 0. Now, I will be 100% honest. I played a death. I died once in it, and I'm like, you know what? This is not for me. I could tell that it was a CSGO-like game, and for me, I was just like, you know what? This isn't for me. But I could see its merits, so I didn't go on to, you know, Metacritic, and I didn't give it a bad review, because it's like, it's not that it's a bad game, it's I could clearly see this is not the game for me. You know, there are other little things that I just don't like you have abilities and things like that, but instead of them being on like cooldown timers, you have to buy the abilities. I don't really like that. I think that's kind of dumb. I feel like the whole point of having characters is to have these unique abilities. So yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I just thought it was something interesting. I definitely want to know from you guys. I am not a Twitch shooter. Plus, I'm just getting used to the PC. So, like, my Twitch abilities to, like, shoot are just not good. I want to hear from you guys, especially my PC guys. Are you playing it? What do you think about it? Are you agreeing with them? Or do you maybe think they're overreacting? Oh, man, we almost forgot to hear from Nate.
Oh, yeah, whatever you say, man. You know everything.
Thanks, Nate. Let's get back to it, though. Enough of the flattery, sir. So then another thing happened this week. A little itty-bitty thing. Not that big. But there was the PlayStation 5 reveal event, and then IGN did some stuff. Real quick, IGN did an expo, and I hated it. It was boring. I started to live stream. Me and Nate started to live stream reacting to that. And it was just so boring that we stopped. Because the problem is that instead of setting it up like an E3, like a press conference, instead of setting it up like that, they set it up as like this entire day of stuff. And that made it really boring. Because what they would do is they would like reveal a couple of new games, maybe they'd have 2 or 3 trailers right in a row, but then they'd go back to the game that you just found out about 2 games ago, and then they'd have a deeper dive into it. I felt like this was a horrible template. They really should have thought about that more. They really should have thought about the flow, because the PlayStation 5 reveal event, like, if we're comparing the two, PlayStation 5 was so much better because periodically they would have people come out and say, hey, this is what's coming out. This is what we're working on and everything. But they got to it, like it was, it was kind of hard to watch, honestly. So let's start off with just some of the trailers of the stuff that had been announced. We have this new game. It's called Hollowed Shell, which screams Dark Souls. The combat looks very Dark Souls inspired. Souls-like has almost become its own genre in the first place. So this doesn't really surprise me. It's definitely pretty, and it definitely does look unique. It's hard to say that it looks unique because it looks a lot like Dark Souls. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just like, oh, hey, look, there's Dark Souls. I didn't know they were making a new one. If you would have, if at the end, if they didn't flash who made it, you wouldn't have known that, oh, that's these makers. Like, here's a good example. Here it comes. So right here, it splashes. Apparently it's PlayStack and whatever. Like, if you didn't tell me, I would have thought that was from Software. I mean, just plain and simple. Then Destiny 2 has some new stuff coming out. I'm not really. Baldur's Gate, Ghost Runner. This one actually looks kind of cool. This almost looks like a speedrunner's wet dream. Like, because it just looks like you're supposed to be running the entire time. It very well could be like procedurally generated. You got wall running, you got a sword, you got all this kind of stuff. It looks really cool. Honestly, it just looks like a good time. It looks like you could do this in little 5-minute spurts. So maybe if you just want to play something right before you want to go to work or something, this seems like a really cool thing. So I'll have the links to all these trailers. Go and check them out. Obviously, you can watch them in the background, but with me talking over them, you don't get the real full. Evil Genius 2. This almost seems like if they made Fallout Shelter into like a really big game. I don't really see this as a full game because this, unfortunately, so many mobile games have done this exact same thing that it's like, even though this might be like a full game and it might be more like Tycoon or something like that, it's just like, I have absolutely no interest in it. But it looks cool. It has an interesting art style and everything. So check it out if you're interested in like strategy type games or, simulation games, something like that. This one looks really cool. This one's Quantum Error. This one definitely has like a creepy like Aliens vibe to it. I'm definitely cool with that. So Quantum Error, check that out. It actually looks really dope actually. Escape to Tarkov, like that's definitely one I know I need to play, but I just never gotten around to it, even now that I have a PC. Warframe, awesome free-to-play game. This one actually looks really cool. It's called Almighty, Kill Your Gods. I'm going to actually fast-forward it, because it does a lot of, like, BS. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, this is me. Oh, yeah, I'm a BA. But then we get to the actual gameplay, and it's like, oh, wow. Like, okay, like, you're a badass. You're, like, flying around. You're doing all kind of, like, look at this. So I'm not sure exactly what kind of... Oh, God, you pick up parts of the enemies. That's kind of funny. But, yeah, I'm not exactly sure, like, what's going on. Like, I'm assuming the main objective is to... Oh, protect. Oh, okay. So you can, like, build up stuff. That looks cool. So you're protecting your city, essentially. And then these giant guys come out. Ooh, there's minions, so that's... Oh, damn! Yeah, this actually looks pretty dope. Pretty dope. Not gonna lie. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. And it's like multiplayer, so that's kind of cool. Torchlight 3, who gives a shit? Twin Mirror, I mean, what is that? Twin Mirror? Is that like an Alan Wake kind of game? Yeah, that looks like an Alan Wake kind of game. What the flub? Something just happened. Screw it. I'm done with that. So there's a couple of interesting ones, but obviously the big hitters of the week. Now, if you want to see my live reactions, go to our Twitch. Actually, I'll also put it up on our YouTube, so if you haven't already, you can check that out. But go there. But yeah, we had some bangers for PlayStation. Starts off with none other but the webhead himself. But wait, it's not the normal webhead. So first off, this right here is amazing. I'm hoping this is in-game graphics and everything because it's like, whoa. And then, oh no, it's Miles Morales. I was like, that's pretty badass. That was pretty cool. All of this kind of seems like just normal, like, okay, Spider-Man or whatever. I was super excited about it. But the moment that actually made me go, what? And it actually scared my daughter. She started crying. She's like, because I scared her. She was trying to nap on me. But the point that actually got me, like, are you serious? Like, it's coming out holiday. So it's coming out this freaking year. I'm like, really? Like, they were working on that quickly. Square Enix is working on something. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is the project something. This almost looks like the thing that they were doing when they did Unreal Engine 3 and they were showing that one chick or whatever and she could fly around or whatever. It looks really cool. The thing about all these trailers, if you watched all of them, is that there were very few that disappointed. There were some that were just like, that's not for me, but I'm like, technologically speaking and mechanically speaking, I'm like, okay, these look like interesting games, even if it's like that's not the game I'm looking forward to. Like, look at that. Look at the smoke and the lighting effects, and it's just like, holy crap. Holy crap, am I right? Am I right, Nate?
Oh, yeah, man, you're so right. Yeah, you're so right, man. Oh, yeah.
So that's Project Athena. Then I think this was the big, like, wait, what? Seriously? Because it starts off like this, so we don't see the Insomniac thing, even though at the beginning of the Spider-Man trailer and this one, it shows the Insomniac, but I think that's the official. When you're actually watching it, you don't get to see that. So I'm like, what is this? Okay. Oh, it's a... And I was like, no way! Boom, we got Ratchet and Clank back at it again. But then they do this really freaking cool thing where they're like going through dimensions and it's all happening like seamlessly. And like that's going to be like actual like gameplay too. Like that was amazing. And then we get a girl Lombax. So it's like different dimensions. So I'm thinking maybe that's who Ratchet is in that dimension or whatever. So that kind of seems cool. This one looks really cool. For a moment, I'm like, do you play as the robots? But I'm like, no, you gotta play as the kitty. Yay, kitty. Kitty. And I think this one's called Stray. But, so once again, maybe not like my bag of tea. But still like, okay, it looks really good. It's very impressive. Like all the lights and everything just looks very, looks good. So can't really complain about this. Now the next one, actually, this looks freaking cool. A house marquee game. You're stuck in space, and it's very time loopy, which is weird because I feel like a lot of movies, shows, and now games are having the same concept where it's like you die, you live, repeat, you die. It's like, okay. And it's just so weird that they're all coming out at the same time. Because then boom, wakes up, crash, and then die. But like when you get to the actual what looks like the gameplay and everything, like this looks like a pretty awesome game. And it looks very trippy. It looks, come on, get to the gameplay. It's very close, almost there. Get to the gameplay. Come on. Whoa, man. So the gameplay itself almost looks like it could be like Remnant from the Ashes, but in space. I absolutely loved Remnant from the Ashes. It was last year's most underrated game. So many more people should have played it. It should have been like Game of the Year. And this looks like it very well could be that, but in space. In space! And what was so good about Remnant from the Ashes, and it was almost like a Souls-like, where it was like very challenging and dodging was very important or whatever. And in that, you can clearly see her dodging a bunch, so it's very important to stay alive. So I like that. And to see a game like that, but it's like super futuristic, but it's got these like really messed up creatures, I am totally all for that. And then what's this one? Oh, this one is probably one of the least interesting ones, But once again, it's just like technologically, I'm like, okay, that's impressive. So it's like this big destruction derby, and you can actually get knocked out of your car. Like your car can get messed up so much that you get knocked out of it. The destruction is amazing. The characters are interesting. But honestly, if this is a game you have to pay for, I don't see this doing very good. Because who wants to play a game like this? Like, who wants to pay for a game like this? Like, maybe if there was a racing aspect or whatever. The only thing I can think of, we got it free to play not too long ago. I can't remember. I think it was from the makers of, like, MotorStorm or whatever. But it was this really weird multiplayer game where you raced around. It was very neon-focused. But instead of it being a race, you had these objectives. So, like, one was you had to stay inside this capture zone, and one was, you know, like, I don't know, it was weird. So, Onrush was the game I was talking about. I had to look it up. But yeah, it was very much like, you know, there's characters and things like it. But to me, it just wasn't that interesting. The next game is basically a company was like, I want Pikmin. Fuck it, I'll do it myself. Because... the combat is kind of cool, but then you have things like this, the little furry guys that jump up on them like there. Like, let's go back. So yeah, oh, yeah. It's very pretty. See these little guys. These little guys help you out. Whoop! Like, that's super cool. But god damn does this game look good. This definitely looks like a single-player game, but I would definitely play it. Looks freaking awesome. And then there's this part where it's like, she casts out the curse, and so then it goes all like super green or whatever. Like super green looks really cool. Next one. Oh yeah, basketball. Hey, look at how much sweat he can have on him. Like fucking dumb. This was the moment of the show where I was just like, oh okay, this is interesting, but I really don't care. So it's like, cool, running around, you're skiing. I don't know, just look kind of cool, I guess. This was kind of a cool moment. Like I almost knew once this happened, I'm like, oh, Demon Souls, like they're bringing that back. But the most depressing part was actually, wait for it. Did I miss it? I must have missed it. I don't know how I missed it. I mean, the only thing that sucks about this is that this is the game that Blue Point was working on, which isn't horrible. Good for them. I'm glad they have work. But what sucks about that is that there was definitely some rumors that Metal Gear Solid was the game that potentially Blue Point was working on. So the fact that it ended up being this, once again, is not bad. I love Demon Souls. Like, it got me into the Souls genre. I absolutely love it. It is just an amazing freaking game. It's one of the only Souls games that I've actually played all the way through, not because like it got too hard and I'm just, you know, a whiny little bitch. No, but because it was just the one I liked the most, I think. Next one, we got something scurry. I do not remember this. Oh god, this was the biggest WTF moment of the entire thing. So things look scary. It's like, oh my god, you know, and you're like, okay, it's werewolves and everything. And then there is a moment, okay, there's like really weird stuff going on. Like, it's okay. Like, all right, this looks really cool, but, you know, who the hell cares? The part that really stuck out to me is like his story needs to come to an end. And I'm like, his story? That made it seem like it was somebody in particular. So I'm like, but we don't know this. This looks like a brand new, you know, IP or wherever. So then this happens. It goes up and it's like, hold on, and it's like Village. Wait for it, Village. I'm like, Village? Okay, that seems like a super basic title. It's like, oh my god! What? No! That's almost exactly how it went. I'm like, nah. Only it was probably a lot, you know, quieter because then I still had to worry about my... But, like, that's how it was in my head. I was like, no, come on! Come on! Now, Deathloop, at first, I knew this was by the people who did, what was it? Dishonored. So I was really, interested, but then to see it in action and to see like the gameplay, and it's clear that in this particular one they are focusing on the guns. That really intrigues me because even though you did have a gun and like a crossbow in Dishonored, you didn't really focus on that. That was not a focus of the gameplay. Whereas this, at least from what I can see, because there's even a shot in the trailer where it shows a whole bunch of different types of guns you can pick up. So to me, that shows me that they're focusing on guns. They're making guns really a part of the game rather than just, an item. I really like that. Because Dishonored, but guns could be really cool. And the concept where, like, live, die, repeat. See, I told you it was a freaking theme. But I really like that. It's interesting. Very interesting. So I can't wait for that. That looks super cool. There was one shot in here. I wonder if I can find it. There's one shot in here where he has dual pistols, but then he puts them together to make, like, a different gun or whatever. I'm like, that's cool. I like that. Next one is, this one definitely started off like, just another indie game. Dang it, I'm sick of these. But the more you watch it, what's this one even called? But the more you watch it, I'm like, oh, this could actually be like really cool. Like, I really like the unique art style. I really like the gameplay. Seems to be like just really interesting. What was it? Little Devil Inside. Yeah, so this one looked really cool, actually. At first I was just like, oh god, here we go again, But then I'm like, okay, the art style grew on me, and then the overall, like, this guy's riding him like a horse. But the overall, like, okay, I could get into this really good. Then I think this was but wait, there's more. This is the big one. Once I saw that this was a building, I'm like, oh no, is this Horizon? Oh my god. And then I think somewhere around here, is when Aloy started talking. I'm like, yes, man. I don't think this is a launch title. Yeah, so you can hear her talking. I don't think this is a launch title, but I think this is coming out pretty close to when it comes out. You got this title right there. And I gotta say, like, it's way better now that I'm like watching it rather than streaming it, because like you can see a little bit more detail. But yeah, this one looks really cool. This one's called Horizon Forbidden West, I believe. So that shot right there where she was climbing, it's like, okay, are we actually going to be able to climb? Because in the first one, you could climb, but it was on very specific things. So for me, it was just like, whatever, All right, let's get to it. Yeah, so Horizon 2 Forbidden, or II. So that could be really cool. Then this part's really cool, because then they like, which really reminds me of like freaking Return of the King, when there was that one race of people had the big ass elephants. She's like, I got this. She's like, motherfuckers, let's go, bitches. You ain't got shit on me. This one was super dumb. I don't like it. I don't like the premise of it. I don't know what the gameplay is of it. Everything else, you get a really good idea of what you're doing. Whereas in this one, I guess you're catching all these animals and then eating them. And then when you eat them, they become part of you. It's so freaking weird. And like, just nothing stands out as, oh, I want to play this. So it just seems silly. That's all. Next one up. This one's cute. The Astro Adventure or whatever. I liked it on the VR demo or whatever. I never got to play the full game or anything, but it's fine. That's weird. I just noticed they left out Sackboy. They left out the Sackboy Adventure. That one looks dope. That one looks cool. It looks like this time around they're not going to be focusing on like the play, create, share, because it definitely looked like it was a full-fledged adventure. It's even called like Sackboy Adventure or something like that. I like at the very beginning they make it look like it's a mascot, and that's kind of a wink to how the Sackboy was kind of the mascot of the PlayStation 3. So I really like that. That was a nice little like meta joke or whatever. This is an interesting one, but also other than the fact that, oh my God, this is so freaking gorgeous. You know, like the fact that you can like see reflections on the car and everything and the way the light reflects off certain things. Like super awesome. Looks great. What the hell is this? Is this a third-person shooter? Is it a third-person action game? Am I going to have to carry that little girl around with me everywhere like Ellie? You know, like, is this going to be like like, what is it? What are you? What are you? So, yeah. But that one it still looks good. It still looks great. I mean, nothing wrong with it, honestly. But those are all the trailers, kind of my overall view on it. The overall, what I thought about PlayStation 5 was really good. Like I said, they periodically came out and started talking blah, 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 blah. This game is really close to my heart and stuff like that. But it really wasn't it wasn't overdone. It wasn't pandering or anything like that. It was just, they got to the freaking point, which is, if you could say one thing about PlayStation after a certain, year, after a certain year, they stopped with all the bullshit and they just showed you games. And I really like that about them. And so this time around, this is what we can expect from PlayStation 5. It does honestly suck that we don't know how much it's going to cost. That really sucks. I guess I should also get up an image of... the actual console. So there we go. There it is. That's the PlayStation 5. I really like it because it looks like the vents start right here and then go up and around. So it's got a lot of venting space. Hopefully that helps with overheating and everything. Then I also like that it has a PlayStation 5 and a PlayStation 5 digital edition. It's a tale as old as time, but me personally, ever since the PlayStation 4, I switched to digital. Because it was very much, you had to download your games on the PlayStation 4 to even play them. So it's like, well, if I have to download them anyways, I might as well just download them directly. So, but that's my thoughts. That's Nate's thoughts over here.
Yeah, my thoughts are awesome. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm gone.
Shut up, Nate. Go away. But that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys thought. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know. All that in the comments down below. Make sure keep coming back every Sunday for your weekly grind. Okay, bye.